Hello everybody, and thanks for taking some time to spend with us at Blue Prism World. My name is Terry Walby and I'm Chief Exec of Blue Prism Cloud, a business acquired by Blue Prism in mid-2019 with it cementing Blue Prism's place as the owner of the world's leading software as a service intelligent automation platform. If I wind the clock back to the early days of that business and the early days of Blue Prism, much of the time we spent in talking to C-suite executives was explaining the potential for automation and the things that it could deliver in terms of value and efficiency. But if I wind the clock forward now, we look at the annual reports of some of the world's leading organisations, HSBC, Royal Bank of Scotland, and many others, you can see the importance of automation featuring in their annual reports, in their strategies, in their thinking. Automation not just delivering efficiencies into their operations, but actually transforming the way they do business and the way they go to market. So Blue Prism commissioned a survey of almost 7,000 senior executives and knowledge workers across organisations of all sizes and scale across the globe. And we found some pretty staggering results actually. 9 out of 10 businesses that are struggling to meet customer demand saw automation as a way to help them, a way to overcome that challenge. 8 out of 10 of organisations, decision makers in organisations, believe that adopting automation is going to change the way their brand is perceived in the market and have a positive influence on their brand recognition. 7 out of 10 saw automation as a way to becoming not just more efficient, but more innovative, creating new propositions, taking new things to market. And staggeringly, 93% saw that they would increase their use of automation in the future. So why is that? Why is this making a difference and why is it becoming so important to them? So increasingly, we're seeing the value that organisations are realising from automation in 3 distinct areas. We call them waves of value. Wave 1 is really focused on efficiency and productivity. So taking activities, tasks that are completed by people today and replicating them with a digital workforce. And part of the power of this intelligent automation paradigm is the ease and non-disruptive way in which those values can be delivered into an organisation. Often within a department, within a function, taking the repetitive, low complexity, high volume activities, replicating them with a digital worker and very quickly releasing hours, releasing funds back to a business to support its objectives. Wave 2 really focuses on cross-functional automation, on thinking about the things that matter, on enhancing business performance through the use of digital workers across activities to deliver the things that really matter, the metrics and KPIs that underpin a business. Be they financial performance, be they net promoter scores, be they hours of service, be they customer responsiveness. What are the things that matter to an organisation? And what are the things that can be underpinned by changing the way an organisation's resourced to deliver value to those business performance metrics? These activities build on that wave 1 productivity, oftentimes being funded by the savings made in wave 1 to deliver really performance enhancing activities to an organisation. The third, and perhaps the most exciting wave of all, is seeing digital workers as an asset that underpins true business transformation. So how can I rethink my business model? How can I change my hours of operation? How can I launch new products and services that are really only made possible by the use of Blue Prism's digital workers, changing the way I think about resourcing what I do in my organisation? And as organisations move through these waves of value, the asset, the digital workforce asset, becomes more and more strategically important to them, which is why so many organisations are now seeing it as something they're prepared to shout about in their annual reports. Really exciting times. So how do organisations create a smooth runway to scaling up their automation initiatives? An important point here, actually, scale is about volume. It's about the number of digital workers deployed across an organisation, but it's not just about metrics, not just about numbers. It's also about the strategic nature of the things those digital workers are doing. So a small number of digital workers can actually deliver scale value to an organisation if they're effectively deployed across departments, across functions and across business outcomes. So the first thing that we find is the importance of enterprise governance. Does it really matter to an organisation? Does it have C-suite sponsorship? Is automation, is the use of digital workers transforming a business? Is digital transformation a strategic imperative? Increasingly it is. You saw that from those annual reports earlier. But actually how that is fostered across an organisation, how that is delivered, how that is measured, how that is managed is really important. Managing stakeholder support and federating activity access across an organisation in a way that is highly governed, but is democratised in terms of people's involvement in the automation initiative. It's really important to drive wide-scale adoption. The second thing we see is really, what are those digital workers capable of doing? What skills do they have? And increasingly, this is not just about being able to operate deterministic workflows. It's about being able to work with probabilistic outcomes, being able to manage unstructured data, being able to read, listen, understand, learn, all of these skills that are being made possible by things that we've integrated into the Blue Prism platform, the Blue Prism Cloud platform, but they're also accessible through the broad range of assets on the Blue Prism Digital Exchange that can be accessed, downloaded, interacted with, using your digital workers as the gateway to the world's intelligence. The third thing is, as you scale, the importance of how you orchestrate and manage the work that's being done by your digital workforce. As you go from single digits to tens to hundreds, even to thousands of digital workers, managing their activity becomes critically important. And doing so in a way that leverages intelligence and learning from previous task execution, but also that is able to be responsive to the performance of business applications at different times of day or days of the week, but also the changing business priorities over time that mean tasks become more or less important as things move on. So feeding all of those pieces of information into an intelligent engine that allows you to have the platform autonomously manage its own resources in a way that, again, is really impossible using human resources, but is made available through this technology. And you'll hear lots more about the technology from Colin Redbond in a later session today. And then the final piece is really, how do we make that accessible? How do we simplify access to technology? How do we remove barriers to adoption and barriers to scale? And some of that is about infrastructure and availability of assets. And through taking a cloud-based software as a service approach, then all of the overhead and complexity that's involved with building, scaling, managing, running, supporting an architecture for your intelligent automation initiatives can be taken away. And you can focus on the things that matter to your business and know that you have an infinitely scalable pool of resources available to do the things that really matter to your business. So let's look at some of the organizations who are seeing strategic value delivered back to their organization through their adoption of Blue Prism digital workers. Organizations like Hershey, who've seen a $7 million annual saving through using digital workers in their supply chain. Organizations like Aviva, who service 3.8 million customers a year and have seen a 90% reduction in inbound inquiries about pension policies because those are being handled by Blue Prism digital workers. Organizations like Telefonica, who are speeding their expansion into new territories using digital workers where they couldn't resource using people. And in particular, through their Brazilian entity Vivo, where they've seen 73% of customer requests executed in real time by digital workers. Organizations like Utilita, who saw a £6.4 million increase in revenue through using digital workers to automate moving customers to prepay. And organizations across healthcare, including the NHS in the UK, where a number of trusts have seen real transformations in the way that patient care is handled by freeing administrative time from healthcare professionals and giving it back to the organization to spend doing the things that really matter. And let's be clear, we're in the grip of a global pandemic that none of us could have predicted, that's changed the way we live, the way we work, the way we interact, the way we think, almost overnight in a way that none of us could have predicted. And businesses, organizations, people have had to respond to that. And what we've seen is the real power of Blue Prism digital workers in supporting that unprecedented agility that's required to deliver transformation. And whether that's organizations who suddenly find that overnight access to their offshore support team has been withdrawn because they've all been moved to a work from home environment and don't have the technologies to support them, where Blue Prism digital workers can scale up to take the slack, or whether it's in the front office where contact center staff can no longer act in the capacity they did when they were sat at a desk, but a digital worker can suddenly consume that workload, manage interaction with a consumer, a client, a patient, and deliver value into the front office as well. But it's not just about business operations. In healthcare, the ability to use digital workers to manage a transition from in-person patient consultation to doing so in an electronic way through technology with Blue Prism digital workers managing the interaction. Or even in more complex cases like psychological care, where a Blue Prism digital workforce can manage access to multiple systems of record and the aggregation of that information to allow a remote consultation to deliver value in a psychological context. All of these polarized examples and many, many more across the world that have seen digital workers react to a pandemic and support businesses' response to a pandemic in a way that none of us could have predicted. Phenomenal outcomes. So what all of these things have shown us is the importance of transformational agility. The world of work has changed forever. We're not going back, and it'll change in the future in ways we probably can't predict today. Our vision at Blue Prism is to provide a platform to allow organizations to respond to economic shock, to manage unpredictable change, and above all, as a platform to underpin true digital transformation. Our belief is that Blue Prism digital workers can be used not just to replicate the work of humans, but as a platform to revitalize business operations, as a mechanism to deliver and accelerate growth, and as an asset for the reinvention of services and solutions delivered by a business. Over the course of this virtual conference, you'll hear and see some great examples of inspirational things that are being done with Blue Prism digital workers to deliver value to organizations, to citizens, and for the greater good. My ask of you is this: let Blue Prism be your partner as you reimagine what you and your business can do next. Thank you for listening.